Welcome back. We have continuing coverage tonight of a possible UAW strike. This, of course, adding to a wave of labor strikes we're seeing across multiple industries this year.
Exactly. But today, all eyes are on the big three, their counteroffers, and how the union is reacting in these final hours. We are here with Dr. Bruce Ferrin, who can give us more insight on the potential economic impact of this strike. Bruce, thanks for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, we have seen the UAW strike before, as recent as 2019, but this one feels different. In fact, we had a quote from a union member at the top of this newscast that said they're preparing to strike these companies in a way they've never seen before. What exactly does that look like?
I think what they're talking about are things I've seen discussed in coverage about maybe striking all three of the big three at the same time. I don't know if UAW has ever done that before. So, that would be something different in my experience.
All right. They're saying that this will happen immediately, but they may not strike every place all at the same time. But for the average consumer, when might we start seeing impacts in Michigan as a result of what's happening?
Well, automotive supply chains these days run with very little inventory to support manufacturing and final assembly. So if final assembly stops because of a strike, that will affect automotive manufacturing, and then the effects of that will ripple out through the Michigan economy very quickly. I mean, for some parts, auto manufacturers run with just hours of inventory. For other parts, they run with just days of inventory. So the effects of a work stoppage in final assembly would ripple out into the economy very quickly.
Now, as far as long-term, though, I mean, we've seen dealerships talk about wanting to stock up on inventory so they can continue to do work through these strikes. But ultimately, you might think that these automakers will have to make lasting changes to how they operate because of what the union is asking for in the way of wages and hours worked. So where down the road might we see this trickle down as far as what the average consumer is going to see when they go to buy a car?
Well, I'm not sure how much the big three would change the way they do their business. Certainly, when the contract is settled and the union wins some improvements in compensation and work rules and what have you, that will affect the costs of the manufacturers, and you'll expect to see some prices adjusted as a result of those costs. In my experience, prices usually go up much more quickly than you would expect in situations like this. So you would, if the manufacturer's costs go up because of the new contract, you would expect them to raise their prices. And on top of that, I don't know to what extent the availability of new autos has completely recovered from the pandemic. And so again, if a strike stops final assembly, then that affects availability. If availability goes down, unless demand goes down as well, prices are going to go up.
Yeah, there's a lot at play here.
Yeah, one of the things to consider for people who are going on strike is it's not like they're completely abandoning their wages at this point. There is a strike benefit fund in which they're going to be getting paid $500 a week for however long this lasts. I think part of the strategy to not have everyone at every plant striking at the same time is to make that fund last a little bit longer. At this point, they're estimating they can get to 3 months down the line. What happens after that if we still haven't reached a deal?
Hey, that's a really good question that I don't have a really good answer to. I mean, at some point, striking workers who run out of strike funding, what do you do? I mean, you got to put food on the table. You got to put a roof over your head. That's a really good question that I don't have a really good answer to. I guess you cross that bridge when you come to it.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot up in the air right now, and we're just going to have to wait and see. Strike potentially happening tonight at 11:59 if that deal is not reached.
Yeah, well, Bruce, we appreciate you taking the time and joining us tonight and explaining exactly what we can expect as this strike plays out.